So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in the 18th OpenAIRE Graph Community Call. Today we have with us Tereza Szybisty, who is a research project manager at OpenAIRE. And today she's going to be presenting how the OpenAIRE Graph powers open science, sorry, just letting more people in, open science monitoring with the use case of the EOSC Open Science Observatory. So as always, we kindly ask you to please keep your microphones muted during the presentation to avoid any background noise. And at the end, we'll have about 30 minutes of discussion where we'll leave you the floor to ask any questions. And before we get started on the presentation, we actually have a couple of graph updates we'd like to share. So I'll pass the floor now to Stefania, the OpenAIRE Graph Product Manager, who's going to share these updates.
Thank you very much, Elena, and good morning, everyone. Welcome. So before we start, I just want to take a few minutes to share a few updates. Actually, this is the first one is about the updates that we have every month on the graph. I wanted the chance to show you and share this page on the documentation of the OpenAIRE graph, the version and changelog, where you can track everything that is updated in the graph every month. So I will copy the link here in the chat for you to track, and this is so especially last community call, we talked about the different ways to access the graph. Here you can track what are the major, minor, or patch updates related to the graph dataset. So as we said, every month the graph is reprocessed and new records are ingested, cleaned, duplicated, enriched, etc. So on this page, you can find the changelog basically, and if for example, if corresponding full data set of the graph was released or no. So as we said last time, every 2 times per year we release the full graph dataset on the Nodo, and we had the latest one in September. So for example, in the changelog related to the month of September, you will find also the dataset released and the link to the Zenodo page where this is done. So this was something that I wanted a chance to explicitly give you the link to this because it's a useful resource to see what changes every month and how the graph is offering everything that's new every month. So this was the first one. The second one is an announcement for everyone that uses our APIs since a long time, and specifically for those that are using still the old search APIs, the ones that returned XML for results, so results in XML format. So as you know, since April 2025, we released a new Graph API that provides result in JSON format and a number of new features. So we said that this old search API would have been discontinued, and now we have a date for this phasing out these APIs. The date is 15th of December 2025. So all the API users that are part of our mailing list have been informed. Let me copy the message that we released on our forum, and we will announce it broadly. And if you are still using these old APIs, please reach out or try to migrate to the new ones. And if you found problem, you can reach out to our help desk to so that we can support you in this migration. I have finished with the announcements. Are there any immediate questions or about this? Or maybe some of you that is using the old APIs that would like to just say, okay, I need this or that. Looks okay. Okay then. So anytime you can reach out for any support. And I think, Elena, we can move on to today's presentation.
Perfect. All right, great. So we'll now move on to the presentation. So during the presentation, you can write all of your questions either here in the Zoom Q&A or chat, or in the Google Doc, which you can find in the chat here. And any questions we don't get today, we'll answer directly in the document. A reminder that today's session...
Sorry to interrupt, because I saw a question in the chat. Yep. Just to clarify for everybody, because we had a question, if the APIs and Silvia copy-pasted a link in the chat. So the API OpenAIRE/graph, these are the new ones. So yes, these are the ones that work. The ones that are deprecated are the ones API.OpenAIRE/search. So no worries about that one. Okay, sorry for the interruption, and thanks Silvia for the question.
Yeah, so just a reminder, today's session is being recorded. So if you do not wish to be recorded, please let us know, and then we can edit any questions or comments you may pose during the session out of the recording. And with that said, we can get started. So I'll pass the floor now over to Tereza.
Thank you very much. Just share my presentation, so I hope you can see it.
Yes.
And okay, thank you for confirmation. So good morning, everyone. I'm Tereza Szybisty from OpenAIRE, and I'm very honored to be here with you. And I'm very happy to see all of you here that you want to learn a little bit more about the EOSC Open Science Observatory. Basically, the observatory is a platform built to monitor, support, and inform the progress of open science across Europe. So let's dive in. So what exactly is the EOSC Open Science Observatory? So in short, it is a policy intelligent platform that monitors how open science is progressing across Europe. It provides a clear data-driven overview of national policies, practices, and trends. And this helps countries and institutions align their strategies, benchmark their progress, and also make an informed evidence-based decision. Let me walk you through the story, how the observatory was created and how it evolved into what we can see online today. So the foundation were laid already in 2021 is a part of the EOSC Future project, where our colleagues did an excellent job initiating the national monitoring on progress on EOSC and open science. And by this effort, they support the EOSC steering board and also the European Commission in monitoring of open science across Europe. And then in 2024, the EOSC track project started. And with this, a new chapter started. We began working on something that we call now a second phase of the EOSC Open Science Observatory. And now what basically I will show you in a bit is a new rebranded, expanded platform that responds to the evolving needs of policymakers and broader open science community. At the center of all this transformation was always a strong commitment to co-creation. We designed the platform with and for the community. So we, for example, did a one-to-one consultation to map a specific user needs. We also had a structured feedback loop with the European Commission and EOSC steering board and other stakeholders, just to make sure that we are aligned with the community needs and also with all the community monitoring landscape. We also take into account the fact that we want to adhere to some higher principle, like, for example, the fair data principles or the priorities of EOSC Federation, or, for example, the newly launched Open Science Monitoring Initiative principles. So this is just an sort of like to give you the background, how was the observatory created. And one of the concrete examples of what we, for example, do to make sure that we adhere to these bigger picture principles is the thing that the observatory is built to be transparent and open by design. So from the code to build the platform, to the underlying data, to every visualization in the observatory, everything is openly available under open license, well documented, and ready to be downloaded and reused. So if you would like to use anything from the observatory, so feel free to do it, because that was one of the points why we built it. Now let's take a look on the data that are feed into the Open Science Observatory. So first, and the most central, is the survey on national contribution to EOSC and open science. As you might know, there is like a monitoring framework from the EOSC steering board that trying to map how the countries are doing on implementation of EOSC and open science. And this survey is how the monitoring framework is put into practice. The survey is completed by national experts, by country managers, who provide a sort of a high-level overview of the policies, practices, and impact. And what is important to mention here is that these responses go through a multi-level validation process. First, there is a check on the country level by the experts and country managers. Then there is a check by the European Commission and also by the members of the EOSC project. We want to ensure that only the validated data are then shown in the observatory. And I will tell you a little bit more about the monitoring framework later on. Then second key source is the OpenAIRE graph. I believe that I don't have to introduce you the OpenAIRE graph, but this is one of the largest open scholarly knowledge graph in the world. And the OpenAIRE graph is basically the things what really brings the observatory to life, because without it, we would have only data on policies, like information about what countries intend to do. But thanks to the graph, we have actually can see how these policies are translated into practice. And again, I will tell you a little bit more how we're using the OpenAIRE graph in a bit. So these two are the main quantitative data sources, the survey and the graph. But we have also a bit more a qualitative side of the monitoring. One particular rich of information is the set of country narratives, which we collect through the OpenAIRE National Open Access Desk, through NOADS. And these are, again, you probably know, but these are experts from an open science community across Europe, which provide us with a detailed overview and insights from each country. And this qualitative input is for us very much vital, because it helps us understand how the things are happening in country and why they are happening. Not just that something is happening, but also this narratives gives us the context behind the national open science developments. Another important source of information are the policy documents itself. And for that, we are building an European Open Science Resource Registry. And this registry will serve as a sort of a central hub for accessing a full text version of key documents, like national strategies, policies, and other related documents and materials. I will again tell you a bit more about it later on. And finally, to enrich our observatory even further, we also bring external data sources, for example, data from Eurostat on research and development indicators, or data from COARA on research assessment. And basically, we're trying to ensure that we bring as much comprehensive overview of open science into one place, into the Open Science Observatory. Well, here you can already see the overview of the monitoring framework. As I mentioned, this monitoring framework sort of feeds into the annual survey that is one of the key source for the observatory. And this framework is designed to track how countries are progressing with open science and EOSC implementation. And not only through the policies, but also through the concrete practices. And now we are also collecting information on the impact of open science, which you can imagine it's a quite challenge how to monitor impact of the open science. So we are trying to present here sort of first attempts how to do it. Currently, the monitoring framework includes 138 indicators, and this framework is structured around 3 key dimensions around policies, practices, and impacts. And across these 3 dimensions, we have then 8 categories that are crucial for open science. It's like publication, data, software services, infrastructure, skills and training, assessment, and engagement, as you can see here. And then in each of these categories, we asking a different questions, as you can see then in the full version of the survey. This framework has been used since 2022. And just last year, in 2024, we updated it with the impact section. So this is the one key framework that we are using. And the second thing I wanted to highlight here is the OpenAIRE graph, because the OpenAIRE graph is really the thing that brings the observatory to life. Without it, as I mentioned, we would have only information on the policies, on what countries plan or commit to do. But with graphs, we are able to see how these policies are actually translated into practice. It enables us to link the policy developments with real research outputs, including publication, data sets, softwares, and other things. And what makes the graph especially powerful is not just the broad coverage of hundreds of millions of research inputs, but also the data quality pipeline, because through the very comprehensive process of aggregation, enrichment, and deduplication, it ensures that we work with a high quality interoperable data that is updated regularly. So thanks to the OpenAIRE graph, we can actually, with Observatory, move behind the policy reporting and to really show the evidence of open science in action. Well, let's now come back to the Observatory. So maybe you don't know, but Observatory has 2 distinct phases, each serving a different purpose. On one side, we have the data management area. This is sort of like an internal layer at the back of the observatory. And this is where we collect the data, where we validate the data, and where we manage the data. Some of you probably have experience with this data management area because you filling in the survey into this data management area. And I see based on some names who join us today that you are quite familiar with this survey tool. And on the other side, we have the public dashboard. And the public dashboard is open and accessible to everyone. And this public dashboard is a visual interface of the observatory tools, and basically it offers the overview what all data that we have in the observatory. So I just wanted to highlight here that there is much more happening on the back of the observatory that is not so visible for everyone. Just to let you know that there is also a lot of happening there on the background. Well, and now I'm happy to present you the EOSC Open Science Observatory, the platform itself. This is a print screen, what you can see on the homepage of the dashboard. From the beginning, we aim for a clear, simple, and user-friendly design, something that would make it quite intuitive to navigate, and I hope that we manage to do it quite well. The homepage is structured around the 9 main areas. As you can see here, you can, for example, explore by open science by area. You can take a look on the trends section to track, patterns and changes over time. We also have dedicated pages to investment, policies, and in the next year we will introduce also the impact of open science. And here you can already see how the explore page of the observatory look like. And more specifically, we are now looking at the open science by area. And this is where you can dive deeper into key components of open science, from open access publication, open data for data, whatever is in your interest. And each tiles leads to a dedicated page with the data, visualization, and etc. And yeah. And for this demo, I chose to take you through the open access section. At the top of the page, we begin with a short introductory explanation of what open access means and why it matters. And this is basically important because I believe that we should do the observatory as much accessible as possible. And even to those who may not be a total open science, freaks and super fans like we are here in this call. So even for these people, to make sure that this will give them an overview of what is open access and why it matters. So just below that, we have a section on, I'm not sure now if the video, it works, but let's see if it will load. So just below that section, we had a set of key indicators that offer a quick overview. Okay, that's shared. Okay, my PowerPoint crashed from the video. So let me put it back on. Apologies for that. Let's try it again. Okay, now it seems it works. So let me pop up the slides again. Okay, I hope that now you can see the slides again.
Oh,
so
yes.
I will.
Well, we see the website.
Yes, it should be it's a website. It's like a video thingy. So yeah, so what you can see here just under the description is a set of key indicators that offer a quick overview of the open access landscape in Europe. For example, the share of publication that are open access, or the percentage of countries with policy on open access, and financial investment made. And then we move into a section dedicated to national policies and monitoring. And here we can see a map showing where countries have mandatory and non-mandatory open access policies, and when the monitoring initiatives are in place. You can click on each country to get also a bit more detail what is happening in each country. Next, we highlight also financial investment in open access. And then we move also into trends of access to publication over time. We are using here the data from OpenAIRE graph to get even deeper. We can also then explore, like this, and play a little bit with the graphs. We have also here a distribution of open access by different scholarly outputs. And finally, here we can see also patterns. How is the distribution of publication access by different fields of science? So you can see, for example, that in medical and health science, the open access publications are quite popular, while in humanities and arts, the number of publications is a bit lower. Well, let me now introduce you to some new functionalities that we will be adding to Observatory in the coming months. One of the exciting development is the country pages. I'm quite excited about this part because the country pages will provide a country-by-country overview of how open science and EOSC are being implemented across Europe, bringing together data from multiple sources. And the goal basically is to provide you really like a country level overview of everything that is happening in open science in your country. So each page will combine different types of evidence. First, there are the survey results from the EOSC steering board survey, which will tell us the information about the policies and monitoring mostly. And then we have the statistics from OpenAIRE graph, to see a data-driven view, for example, trends on open access publishing, data sharing, software use, and so on. Third, we have the country narratives that give us the context. This is a particularly important part because without the narratives, we would not know why the things are happening in the country. And then also each country page will include a list of key resources like national policies, case studies, strategic documents, legislations, serving as a sort of like a gateway for further explanation of full text of these policies. We are now having these country pages in a demo, and we plan to launch them in the next month. And the second thing, and I think this is my favorite part of the observatory, or it will be my favorite part once we launch it, it's a European Open Science Resource Registry. The Resource Registry is a very nice tool because it allows you to search through open science policies, strategies, and other related documents with an AI sort of assistant. We are using AI to tag, to summarize, and to generate or translate the summaries, to also generate metadata or enhance the metadata. And we are trying to put it all in one place. So basically what you will get in the resource registry is an overview of the policies. You will get a sort of a summary of it. You will see also from when till when the policy was published, for how long time spent it was meant to be, and all that you will see at one place for all Europe. So we have, I think, around 400 sources right now there, and we need to go through all of them and make sure that only the curated, approved reports, strategies, and documents will appear in the observatory. But this is something that I think will be very nice because it sort of combine the AI enhanced functionalities, and in the same times it provides you the policies and strategies at one place from all around the world, or around Europe, sorry. And again, this is also planned for the last months of 2025. Well, let's now talk about how we are actually using these data from Observatory and how we are turning them into an insight. This platform is not just about collecting the information, it's about basically turning the data that we collect into some practical insights, and then the insights into action. And the observatory here plays a crucial role in supporting evidence-based policymaking and strategic decision-making across Europe and also at the national level. As an example of this, I have here to show you that the data from Observatory directly feeds into the ERA scoreboard and dashboard, which are one of the key instruments for monitoring progress of the European research area. Also, the EOSC Open Science Observatory are becoming more important source for researchers and people who study meta science or science policy developments. I also noticed we have one of these researchers here with us in the call. And also I would like to highlight here that if you would like to use a full data from the observatory, so as I mentioned, everything is openly available, ready for you to reuse it, no matter if it's a data from the survey or if it's a data that we have from the OpenAIRE graph or from some different sources. Everything is ready for you to use it in your own work. Lastly, I would like to also share one concrete example how directly we in the EOSC track project, we are using the observatory to support the policy and to share lesson learned that we have already from the time being of this project. So these lessons that we have is basically the lessons that we learn from building and evolving the EOSC Open Science Observatory. Is it also a lesson that we capture in the policy brief that I link here in the presentation? And is it also a part of the feedback that we propose to the European Commission call for evidence on the ERA Act? So first, and perhaps most importantly, we learned that the whole process has been a learning journey. Monitoring of open science is not just about collecting the data, but it's about understanding where we stand and where are the gaps and how we can move forward. It shouldn't be, just a compliance that, yes, I fill in this survey, I finished the monitoring, but it should be about the learning process. Another clear lesson that has been shared with us is that the shared definitions are essential because countries still interpret open science concept differently. And without a common understanding, the comparability is very difficult. So we really need to continue coordination on this and create a shared definition across Europe, just to make sure that the data that we are collect are really understand in the same way across Europe. We also learned that targeted support really matters. Simple things like, for example, we organizing an EOSC survey cafe, where we introduce the monitoring into different members of EOSC steering board. We help them with filling in the survey. We guide them through the process. We also offered functionalities like, for example, pre-filled templates from the last year, or we are trying as much as possible to get data from external sources directly into survey. That way that the people who filling in the survey doesn't have to do as much work as possible. So we're trying to really help them, and in the way how we are engaging with them, we are trying to also improve the overall quality of the data. Another important insight is that we saw how the visualization adds the real value, because the data that we have in the observatory are very complex, and sometimes it's not clear, what the data mean there. So basically making these data into a clear, accessible insights that policymakers will understand is a very crucial thing, and we see how these visualizations are really helpful in that matter. And finally, monitoring must remain adaptable, because open science evolves quickly. We can see it in our homes, in our research, and our indicators needs to evolve with the way how the open science is evolving. So flexibility is what keeps the frameworks very relevant and useful, and not just for the reporting, but also for reflection and continuous improvement. So for that reason, we are also proposing that the framework that we have should be continuously improved and adapt in order to make it valuable source of information once we get the data from the monitoring framework. So let me share also what is coming in the next month as a sort of overview what we are working on right now. So you already heard about the country pages and about the European Open Science Resource Registry. This is something that you will see still this year, and you will also see some new thematic pages, including, for example, pages on the open science licenses, Creative Commons, persistent identifiers, and also we would like to take a deeper look at the open access roads among Europe. Also, looking further ahead, in the next year, we would like to introduce a custom search, so users can generate a tailored made insights based on your personal need, whatever you need. And finally, we will be also collecting an open science impact and use cases to showcase real examples of how open science is making a difference across different disciplines, across different communities. And basically here, we will ask people also, perhaps you, if you have some use cases that you would like to share with us, and make a nice report from these use cases, as well as showcase them in the observatory directly. Well, I hope that this walkthrough has given you a sort of a better sense of what EOSC Open Science Observatory is, and most importantly, what it can do to support your open science monitoring and policymaking at your institution, at your country. Well, it's been a pleasure to share this with you, and I hope that you will have some questions that I can answer in the coming minutes, and I hope also that next time someone will ask you how the open science is progressing, that you will know exactly where to look. So thank you very much, and I think we can now dive into the questions, if you have any.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tereza. All right. So yeah, as we said, now we can move on to the Q&A. So again, please feel free to write your questions either in the Google Doc that was sent in the chat. So of course, if we don't get to everything today, we can always respond there as well. You can also post here in the Zoom chat in the Q&A, or even, of course, raise your hand. So everybody a second. If there's any questions, comments as well. Yes, Esteban.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Okay, I have a question. So I've seen that you can customize the dashboards. So is it possible to customize the dashboard in the future to get the results in open science or the impact of open science in institutions, like for example my university?
So we are focusing on the national levels. So I'm afraid for your concrete university, this will not be possible, but you should be able to create custom reports for your country level overview of open science.
If I may, in OpenAIRE, we actually do have a service exactly for this function. It's the OpenAIRE Monitor, where you can create customized dashboards for your universities. Even we create them also in the national setting as well. So I'll paste that here, the information here to the website. And here you can see the subscription options, and always please feel free to reach out to us and we can organize a call to see what are your needs, what's possible, and everything. So if you look at the website here, you can see, you can take a look through, and then there's a section that even goes through the specific indicators. Under support documentation, there's all the indicator themes. And you'll see here that there is subscription. So OpenAIRE is a nonprofit. These subscriptions are the subscription fees are for the sustainability and the running of the services themselves. So sometimes people get confused, but the fees are for the actual sustainability and the running of these platforms because they take so much, of course, they use so much technical infrastructure. So we really encourage you and everybody
we are
else.
part of this service.
Ah, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so it is not the same service then, right? So the data is the same, but not the service. Because what is the difference, for example, from my, because I think in this service, you can't generate any report, right? Automatically. So my
In
question
OpenAIRE
is,
Monitor or
yeah.
the Observatory? In Monitor,
No,
from what I
in
understand,
Monitor.
you should be able to, in the Monitor, you can create reports. There's all those automatic indicators. But the difference, I think Tereza can explain better because, for example, OpenAIRE Monitor is built off of the OpenAIRE graph and sometimes will combine with other knowledge graphs as well. Some universities have their own, repositories or even their own knowledge graphs. And so the Monitor is built off the graph plus maybe a university-specific graph, whereas the EOSC Observatory, maybe I'll let Tereza explain, pulls from other sources as well, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Alan mentioned that. Yeah, and I think the main difference is that the OpenAIRE Monitor can be like customized to your specific needs at your institution, while the Observatory is providing sort of like a bigger picture at the EU or national levels, not focusing on concrete institution.
There are questions. So looking here in the document. While maybe I'll give you a second to think if you have also any comments. We can give another announcement. So as some of you may know, next week is the annual International Open Access Week. And as OpenAIRE, we're going to be hosting two events. Two events for the Open Access Week. So in line with this year's theme, which is Who Owns Our Knowledge, we're going to be hosting a two-part series of open conversation on trust, AI, and the future of open knowledge. So it's broken up into two sessions. The first will be on Monday, October 20th from 2 to 4 CEST. And the second will be on Thursday, the 23rd from 4 to 5 CST. So I'll post here in the chat the links to these events where you can find further details, about the calls and everything, and also how you can register if you're interested in joining. So these are our events that we're hosting as OpenAIRE, and then of course, as always, we're hosting some things with some partner organizations. I know Tereza is having an event with one of the Czech libraries, I think.
Yes, exactly. We have an event with the Czech Association of University Libraries, but we actually holding the Open Access Week later in November. So we are a bit special in that case. So these events will take place from 10 to 12 of November.
Next week will be very dense of events for the Open Access Week. If any of you is involved in others, you can promote it here. It's a good also good place to promote it if you want.
Okay, so we do have one question in the chat. Wondering if there's any difference in how EOSC works with countries that have federated open science policies compared to those with a single national policy.
Hello, Maya. Thank you for the question. Yes, I don't think that on the monitoring level there is no difference how we approach these countries. However, I think that the EOSC association works a bit differently with the countries that have federated open science policies. But this is just my understanding, and I'm not here on behalf of EOSC, so I'm not sure if I can speak for them.
Another second. And then, of course, as always, as we said earlier, if, of course, anything else comes up later, please feel free to reach out to us. You can either reach out to us directly via the help desk, but we really encourage everybody to use the OpenAIRE user forum, because there you not only reach out to the OpenAIRE Graph team, but also the community. So it's a great place to come together and also share tips. It's not only for questions, feedback, tips, and everything. And if we don't have anything else, I think we can wrap it up there. Again, feel free to reach out if anything ever comes to mind. Maybe give everybody a break before their next meeting. All right, well, thank you so much again, Tereza, and everybody for joining. Hopefully to see you in the next community call, and wish you all a lovely day.
Thank you, Tereza, and
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
everyone for joining. Have a good day.